Breath of the Wild changed up the formula for most Zelda games that came before it by introducing breakable weapons. This promoted trying out new weapons and helped with a sense of exploration in the game, but not everyone liked this feature, and if you ask any Zelda fan what they'd like to improve about the original Breath of the Wild, then they're going to likely mention the weapon system. But today I'm going to look at what Nintendo may do in Breath of the Wild 2 with weapons. Are they going to stick with breakable weapons, or will they introduce a new weapon system entirely? Well, if you're new around here or find this useful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below for all the latest Zelda content and turn on notifications by hitting that bell. And roughly 93% of viewers who watch Triforce Times aren't subscribed, so subscribe today and never miss an update. Well, before we get into the video today, I would love to hear your thoughts about the original weapon system in Breath of the Wild. What do you think about the breakable weapons, and what do you think Nintendo are going to do in Breath of the Wild 2? Are they going to keep with the breakable weapon, or are they going to introduce a new system? If you were in charge at Nintendo, what would you do with the weapons in Breath of the Wild 2? There's plenty of good things to say about the weapon system in Breath of the Wild. There's a large amount of weapon variety with swords, staffs, halberds, axes, hammers, even simple sticks. When a weapon broke, you had to try out something new in your arsenal, which might even be the arm of a skeleton enemy. Well, that sense of improvisation is very powerful and fed into the overall free nature of Breath of the Wild. As the player, you have to mix things up and try out new weapons, rather than rely on your favourite weapon and use that all the time. However, Nintendo introduced quite a polarising formula with their breakable weapon system, so it can be frustrating if you find a decent weapon you like, after going through a bunch of weapons that didn't really feel like they were the one for you. Personally, I really like the traditional sword and shield approach with Link. Yes, you can get hold of the Master Sword in the game, but to be honest, I didn't really mind using something like a soldier's sword. They look good, they feel good, and it was always annoying to me when they broke, and then I had to revert back to something like a Boko club. When weapons are breakable like they were in Breath of the Wild, players find it harder to forge relationships with their weapons. I'd like to see Nintendo go the other way and invest in weapons. I'd really like to see specific weapon quests, much like we had side quests in the original game. However, many of the side quests only rewarded rupees or other financial rewards. I would love to see top tier weapons and unique weapons as rewards for quests. You could make these quests intricate, multiple steps, make these weapon quests hard, so I really want to earn these unique weapons. I would also love to see some personalisation on that weapon. Let me know the stats, let me know how many kills I have with that weapon. Rather than being disposable, go the other way and really make weapons mean something. You can still promote the use of multiple weapons, but instead of breakable weapons, have weapon tiers that incentivize players to use different weapon types, classes, and maybe even rarities too. Well, there's been talk that the development team were playing Red Dead Redemption 2 during the early stages of development of Breath of the Wild 2, and this may offer some clues as to where the team are going or what they may be thinking about. There's no doubt that Nintendo heard the feedback relating to the weapon system, and the decision now is whether they're going to do something about it or carry on regardless. In Red Dead Redemption 2, weapons aren't necessarily breakable, although they did get dirty and degrade over time. Arthur Morgan, our main protagonist in Red Dead 2, could clean his weapons throughout the game, and I can see this system working in Breath of the Wild 2 as well. So weapons could get dirty or degrade, then you have to take them to a specific vendor in a village or town, and perhaps even use a rare currency to clean or fix these weapons. Well, Breath of the Wild was a departure from another long-held Zelda tradition, and that was getting unique items and weapons from dungeons. The boomerang, that was a classic Zelda weapon, and it was relegated to a simple breakable weapon in Breath of the Wild. So I love it when the weapons we have display attributes from where we got them. For example, if you beat down a boss, you could take their weapon, or maybe if you slay a dragon or something similar, then a sword or axe could be made from its teeth. Similar to Monster Hunter, when you take down a monster in that game, you fashion a weapon from its remains. I would love to see something similar come to Breath of the Wild 2. Well, I do think Nintendo has a few options when it comes to the weapons in Breath of the Wild 2. They can stick with the system they have, where all weapons except the Master Sword break, although the last shot of the Master Sword we saw, it didn't look very healthy at all. Another option could be to have breakable weapons sit alongside non-breakable weapons or special weapons. These special weapons could be durable, they'd be able to take a certain amount of damage or maybe get dirty and they'd have to be cleaned. These could be related to specific dungeons and perhaps have some of the characteristics of where they came from. Well, let me know in the comments what you think about the weapon system in Breath of the Wild. I would love to hear what you think, and let me know what you want to see in Breath of the Wild 2 when it comes to the weapons. Well, that is it for this look at what Nintendo could do with their weapon system in Breath of the Wild 2, and as always, thank you so much for watching or listening. For more Legend of Zelda content like this, hit that subscribe button down below and subscribe to Triforce Times, or you can check me out on Twitter at Triforce Times. Well, if you enjoyed this video, found it useful, liking and sharing the video would really help me out. Otherwise, check out the other videos on the channel. Well, thanks again. I'll see you soon.